Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of Southern Woke Podcast. I'm Kaylin.
And I'm Marina.
And y'all, it is officially spooky season.
As you can see by my sweatshirt, it's big and comfy.
Hey,
It's
this
not our
sweatshirt
merch,
is also big and comfy too, guys. Just saying.
And that is our merch. So, you can go to our website, southernwoke.com, click merch, and shop for yourself. Also, be on the lookout, though, for Southern Woke's very own collection of Halloween merch. That will be announced soon in the beginning of October. And we have a lot going on, as we always do, for the month of Spooktober. So we want y'all to send in spooky topics, and at the end of the month, which actually it would be like our first episode of November, but we want y'all to vote on or submit topics for spooky episodes, and we will pick one and do it. And also, this month we will be doing a merch giveaway of our Halloween collection to the person with the best Halloween costume. So throughout this whole month, send in your Halloween costumes if you're going out to parties, and we will make our final judgment November 1st.
So, what are you going to Halloween as this year?
Honestly, I don't know, because I don't know what I'm doing for Halloween yet. But I think I might step it up from Wednesday Addams and do Morticia.
That's like an end of an era. Like, you turned
Not
27
really.
and now you're like, I gotta be the mom.
Oh no, I don't want to be the mom in any scenario. But I just want to wear the Morticia dress, honestly.
I feel that. She has a cool dress.
What are you gonna be?
I have not a clue.
Exactly. It is too hectic in life to be thinking about Halloween costumes yet. But I always got
everybody
the
at
Wednesday
my work
Addams
is
dress.
talking about it. Oh, wait, what? Oh yeah, like a fallback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a single fallback costume. I just throw all my Halloween costumes away for some reason. What else am I gonna do with it?
Okay, so today is our very first spooky episode of the season, and we're coming at you kind of strong today with the Hellfire Caves that were created by the Hellfire Club, and not the Hellfire Club from Stranger Things. This one is way spookier than the Stranger Things one.
It's funny that you say that. So first of all, guys, I'm going into this blind, by the way. I don't know a single thing about this, so we're going into this together. But number two, I was talking with some of my coworkers about the Hellfire episode today, and one of them said, oh, like from Stranger Things? And I've only seen up to like season 2.5 of that show. Y'all can roast me all y'all want, but really, it's a great show. I don't know why, I just haven't finished it. But I had no idea what they were talking about, so it's funny to hear you say that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like part of the show.
But well, yeah, they have a D&D club, and they call it the Hellfire Club. Totally unrelated.
Oh, wait, then I've seen that.
Yeah.
I
But
guess I
anyways,
didn't
you
remember
better
that.
catch up before the final season. You have time.
I will.
Okay. So, I'm super excited to teach Kaylin all about this today. So first, let's go over the history. How did we get here? Okay. Obviously, the star of today's episode is the Hellfire Caves, but to understand the whole dang picture, we must first look into the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club was an exclusive members-only club for members of high society that is now known as England's most notorious secret society. The club was first founded in London in 1718 by Philip, Duke of Wharton, and several other elites. Wharton was a powerful and wealthy politician, writer, and he was the Grand Master of the Premier Grand Lodge of England, aka he was also a powerful Freemason.
Of course he was.
But Wharton also led a double life as a drunk, rioting, gambling, pagan man whore.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
That escalated quickly.
I wanted it to.
Alright.
The club was considered a satirical gentleman's club, but women were also in attendance. And they intended to shock and ridicule religious beliefs through the act of mock religious ceremonies, with the supposed president of the club being the devil. Their motto was, "Do what thou wilt." A few notable members of the club you might have heard of before include John Wilkes, Paul Whitehead, Benjamin Franklin, and John Montague. I feel like I've just heard those names before in history class somewhere, so I was like, maybe some other people have heard them before. We'll talk about them a little later.
John Wilkes, you said. Isn't that like John Wilkes Booth?
No. Well,
Heard.
I guess they have the same name. But this one was in 1700s.
Gotcha.
Wait, who did he
I was really hoping you would say it because he killed
JFK.
Abraham Lincoln, right? Ooh.
I don't know.
We gotta Google
Let's
it.
just stop
Nope,
it.
This is important.
Okay, figure it out for us.
Abraham Lincoln. Let's go.
Okay, so wait, what time period was that?
1865.
Okay, so yeah,
that
was
is
a
crazy.
century later.
What? Abraham Lincoln died like not even 200 years ago. Wait, am I stupid?
Let's just move on before we sound really bad.
Yeah, let's just do that.
But yes, I have included a picture of Mr. Phillip right there with that atrocious white long hair that the old men used to powder. If you remember that
so
from
much
the
for
founding
that.
fathers. So the club came to an end in 1721 due to political maneuvering by Wharton's enemies, resulting in Wharton being removed from Parliament and the club being disbanded. The club was reformed by Sir Francis Dashwood, a wealthy landowner that had a deep hatred for the church and really liked prostitutes and cults.
Got it.
The first clubhouse of the Hellfire Club were the ruins of the Medmenham Abbey, 6 miles from West Wycombe, where Sir Francis lived. He commissioned the construction of a complex series of tunnels and caverns for the club's meetings on the Dashwood estate of West Wycombe Park in Buckinghamshire, England. And also, I was just listening to a podcast as I was getting ready, just figuring out more stuff about this place. And it's interesting because instead of keeping the cave a complete secret, Sir Francis kind of made it to where he was kind of the hero for what he did with this place, because it's right near a very popular road that they used for trading back then. And it was kind of like a road in New Orleans with potholes everywhere, and it would constantly overturn carriages. And the Hellfire Caves is inside of a hill, and he was like, let me get all these men that need money to dig out this tunnel system for me, and then take the chalk, because it's like a chalk cave. Never heard of one of those until I looked into this. But they took all that chalk and filled in all the potholes on the road, and it was just like a win-win for everyone, and Sir Francis got his cave, which is more like a tunnel, but cave sounds better. So the complex extends for a quarter of a mile beneath the Church of St. Lawrence and the Dashwood family mausoleum. And it's really interesting because the Church of St. Lawrence sits on top of this hill, and then the caves go under the hill, and at the very end of it, they called it the Inner Temple. And I'll give you a whole visual tour later, or verbal tour, I should say. And this Inner Temple was 300 feet directly below the church, representing heaven and hell. So he was a little clever. And we'll talk about the mausoleum later too. Okay, let's continue. Then I have, oh my gosh, this picture of Sir Francis Dashwood. He kind of looks like he could be related to Benjamin Franklin, but that nose on this man is a bonker. I don't know.
Does
I
kind of
made
look
that
like
word up.
Benjamin Franklin.
I know. And like through all the research I did, people back then thought he was like the most handsome thing. And I'm like, ew. Okay, so you may wonder, why did Sir Francis find it necessary to construct a whole cave system? Well,
I am wondering
it
that.
goes it goes back to when he was a young man. Apparently he was a bad boy and his parents were like, you need to go on a grand tour. And this is like common for wealthy families back then. They would just send their kids on a whole tour of Europe and they were like, go learn things.
There's no way he was a bad boy with that haircut in that photo. 0% chance.
Well, when you listen to some of the things that he did, he indeed is a bad boy. So, in the case of Sir Francis, he visited Italy, Turkey, Syria, Greece, and other areas of the Ottoman Empire, and he was inspired by some of the caves that he visited on his journey. He had a vision that when the Hellfire Club flourished, caves would be more luxurious and secluded for them to do these things in. The Hellfire Caves were dug out between 1748 and 1752. When the Hellfire Caves were finished, the meetings were moved there. And meetings were held twice a month and then twice a year for a longer event, and usually lasted a week. Members
Damn,
were
so they're meeting
allowed
pretty often.
Yeah. And they're partying pretty often. And then members were allowed to introduce a cheerful lady, and men that were non-members were sometimes also allowed in, but there were many restrictions. Most importantly was that they keep what happens in the caves a secret. It was the Vegas of the 1700s. And then it is said that at these parties, Sir Francis would mock Christianity and religion, drink tons of wine, and have orgies. It's said that members would perform pagan rituals, baptize each other in unholy water, and worship the devil. They
Just real
also
fast,
built-
as soon as you said that there was a week-long event, my brain immediately thought they're definitely having orgies there. I don't know why I thought that, but then you just saying that confirmed it, so I'm glad my suspicion was true.
Yes, indeed it was. So many rumors of black magic, satanic rituals, pagan sacrifices, and orgies were in circulation during the life of the club. By the early 1760s, the club began to decline and would eventually be dissolved. On March 22nd of 1766, Sir Francis decided it was time to remove all traces of incriminating evidence against the Hellfire Club. All prints of the heads of kings and nuns were removed, as well as the pegs for the clothes with the brothers' names on them. This ending of the Hellfire Club was possibly due to Sir Francis's appointment as Chancellor of the Exchequer. That's probably so not how you say that. But basically, he was getting moved up in his little politics. Various branches of the Hellfire Club continued to carry out meetings, such as the Beggars' Benison in Scotland, which dissolved in the 19th century, and some supposed branches that met at various historic educational institutions of Ireland and Britain today. Dude, the fact that there could still be the Hellfire Club out there, it's like, just like the satanic Illuminati, even more? It's really one and the same.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, they're basically... There's no way that there's an Illuminati and a Hellfire Club out there. And, like, both of them just think they're controlling the world, and neither of them actually are.
Well, they don't care about controlling the world. They just want to do some dark shit. I don't get why. But let's talk about some of the other members. So we have Paul Whitehead was the steward of the Hellfire Club.
Who's a steward? Always wondered that.
You know, I don't really know. But he was basically Sir Francis's... I hate that that's his name. He was his right-hand man, basically. Speaking of, there was a suspicion that Mr. Paul and Sir Francis were maybe more than friends, and Paul even wanted Francis to have his heart when he died and requested it be buried in the Dashwood Mausoleum, which is located right next to the church on top of the hill. It's a big-ass mausoleum. I have a picture at the very bottom if you want to peek at the whole landscape, but it's legit. I also heard in this podcast that I was listening to earlier that right before Paul Whitehead died, he burned all of the club's documents. Like, he wanted no trace. So all of this stuff, there is no, like, written text to support it that I know of, but it is pretty believed that all this stuff really did happen, especially if you go visit the caves today and you witness all the spooky shit. We'll get to that, trust me. The Dashwood Mausoleum isn't just the final resting place for the Dashwood family, but also for special brothers like Paul. As time went on, tourists began visiting the mausoleum and were even allowed to hold Paul's heart. Like, you could just go there and hold his heart, but that only was a thing until 1829, when an Australian soldier allegedly stole it, and it remains missing today.
Are we talking about, like, his heart, like, in a jar?
It was in a marble urn.
Okay.
But yes, we're talking about his heart.
Just making sure we weren't talking about, like, raw heart in hand type deal going on.
Nope. And also a fun fact, apparently, his heart was the size of, like, a little piece of charcoal whenever it was stolen. So obviously it wasn't being preserved very well. It was going to crumble eventually. That's probably why it has never been found. But also, unfortunately, his heart is not the only thing missing from the mausoleum, because several urns and busts have been stolen or vandalized as well. And by 1956, the mausoleum was in near disrepair, but it has since been renovated. And there is a picture of Paul Whitehead. He looks creepy.
He looks eerily similar to the last guy.
Yeah, they all fucking look the same. All creepy. We'll post pictures of these on Instagram for y'all to see, but really it's like you're looking at the same man. Okay, this is my favorite member. It was John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich. He was known to be a gambling addict, and he would always order salt beef between 2 pieces of bread so that he could eat with one hand and gamble with the other. And this method became so popular that the others would order what Sandwich was having, thus creating the term sandwich.
Sandwich, the word, was named after this man.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that dude is a freaking legend.
Yep. And he was a Satan-worshipping, orgy-having, gambling man whore, too.
Damn, I'm gonna think about that every single time I go to Subway now.
And other members of the club included prominent 18th century figures such as William Hogarth. He was an English painter, printmaker, pictorial satirist, social critic, and editorial cartoonist. And John Wilkes, not the guy that killed Abraham Lincoln, he was a journalist and a politician. And Thomas Potter was also a politician and the vice treasurer of Ireland. It's weird because a lot of these guys were like satirists, whether it be like in poetry or art or like anything like that. They just loved satire. Which makes me think, like, why did we focus so much on that in English class in high school? Anyways, that was always such a
Dude, I still don't even know if I can define what satire is.
It's like making
Like, I understand it.
mockery of something. I don't know. I literally zoned out that whole section of AP English. Okay, so now let's go on a little verbal tour, I have a picture of a map of the whole cave system for you to reference. So, the caves are located 260 meters underground and are about 400 meters long. Upon walking up to the entrance of the cave, you are met with a wall that mocks a Gothic church. And it is not your typical cave entrance, like if you were to go into the Ozarks, like I have, and go into a cave. No, like it literally looks like you're walking into a church. There are tables outside to like eat lunch on. It looks like a building.
Damn.
And then once you're in, there are several underground chambers connected by a series of narrow passageways. From the entrance hall, you'll find the Steward's Chamber, Whitehead's Cave, Lord Sandwich's Circle, and the Franklin Cave. Then you'll enter the huge banqueting hall, which allegedly is the largest man-made chalk cave in the world. The banquet hall is the halfway point of the cave, and this is where all the parties and orgies would take place. There were smaller rooms around the hall with beds and curtains, and the male members dressed as monks would have young naked women dressed as nuns lay down on altars where they would pour wine on them in order to worship the goddess of love.
Bruh, this seems like some crazy shit like from a video game or like a horror movie.
A video game? What the hell?
What?
What kind of video game has
You-
orgies? Like,
I just played this game called Outlast Trials, and it's like a horror video game, and they had like a whole thing like that. It was really weird.
and this is why I don't play many games. Also, fun fact, the hall is located right under a cemetery. So you know how like when you're in a cave and you get dripped on, it's like water because it's so whatever, it's a cave. But in the banqueting hall, if you get dripped on, it could be body juice since it's right under a cemetery.
That is so freaking disgusting. Holy shit.
I don't know if they like have fresh bodies in there these days, but I think you would be okay because I think all of them are bones now.
I don't even want a drip of water running across a dead person's bones to fall on me. That is so disgusting.
Yeah. Well, after you pass through getting dripped on by dead bodies in the banquet hall, the path splits into a triangle. And I watched, of course, a Sam and Colby video of them exploring the Hellfire Caves. And they said that, like, whenever you go through this triangle, you're supposed to go the path of a sinner or the path of, like, the innocent. And if you, like, choose the wrong thing, like, something bad will happen. I don't know.
Bro,
Just cute
Benjamin
little-
Franklin's like part of this shit?
Mhm.
That is so wild.
Although a lot of people want to deny it, but then why is there a cave named after him in it?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Riddle me that.
Paul destroyed all the evidence. Well, when you pick your path on the triangle, they both lead into the miner's cave. Still don't know if that means like coal mining or like miner as in children. But considering their reputation, I think it is the latter. Then, after the miner's cave, you cross over the River Styx, which is a subterranean faux river that represents a river in Greek mythology that forms the boundary between Earth and the underworld. After you cross the River Styx, you are symbolically entering the underworld, known as the Inner Temple to the members of the Hellfire Club. The Inner Temple is at the very back of the cave, and only 12 apostles of the Brotherhood were allowed to enter. When the apostles would go to the Inner Temple to perform rituals, they would symbolically go to hell itself, since it is 300 feet directly below a church. And then the members would dress in all white robes, with the leader being in all red, and would baptize each other in unholy water before performing the satanic rituals. And it is alleged that they did do human sacrifices. The fact that you can literally go to a place where this shit happened is wild to me.
Yeah, that is... What the heck?
Alright, now let's get to the real spooks. Oh, Lord. So, the spirit of a woman named Suki is the most active spirit in the cave. Suki was a beautiful young 16 or 17-year-old lady working in a pub, waiting for a wealthy man to come sweep her off her feet. She would always get hit on by the local men, but none of them were wealthy enough for her liking. One day she finally met a wealthy man, and they hit it off, and he promised her he would return soon. Suki received a letter later on telling her to meet him in the Hellfire Caves and wear her most beautiful white dress as a wedding gown. And Suki, of course, was super excited, and she went to the cave in her dress, and when she entered, she heard a voice from deep inside of the cave telling her to go to the banquet hall. Once she got there, she quickly learned that the note didn't come from her little aristocrat love, but from 3 local boys that she had rejected because they weren't wealthy. They weren't the wealthy men of her dreams. The boys jumped out at her and started teasing and tormenting her. Embarrassed and angry, she picked up a rock and threw it at one of them, and they retaliated by hurling rocks back at her. One of the rocks hit her in the head and she was knocked unconscious. The boys panicked and ran out of the cave, leaving Suki to die alone. Now she haunts the cave in a white wedding dress looking for her lover and sometimes will throw rocks at people, mostly targeting men because now she hates them.
So, not gonna lie, she kind of sounded like a bitch. I really don't feel that bad for her.
She was just a woman that knew what she wanted. She was just a little teenager.
She said that she kept denying people because they weren't wealthy enough for her and she was 16.
I guess times were different. So, there is your classic lady in white. I feel like every place has her. Next, we have Paul Whitehead, because duh, he haunts the caves. And he's been seen on many occasions. He's usually wearing old-fashioned 18th century clothing, and he disappears when someone meets his eye. He's also known to cause poltergeist activity. Some visitors of the cave have also seen an elderly man in the cave system. It's uncertain if this is also the spirit of Paul, but it could be a whole different spirit that no one knows who that is. Oh, then we have the fact that even the mannequins, because like you can go tour this place and they have mannequins set up throughout the whole cave, and they think even the mannequins are haunted because one time they all fell over and the owner came in only to see that it appeared as though all the mannequins, like, you know, they were propped up in a certain way, but like all of them, their arms were stretched out as if like they were bracing for the fall whenever they were all pushed over.
That's creepy.
So that's, yeah. And then other ghostly phenomena that happens in the cave is that the temperature can suddenly drop without a probable cause, and strange lights and orbs have been seen. People have heard disembodied voices, and some even claim to have been touched by unseen hands. Some visitors have even heard Gregorian chanting coming from the inner temple. Other visitors had their clothing tugged on or their hair pulled, and they begin to feel sick, and some have even passed out. As it is today, you can visit the Hellfire Caves and take a ghost tour along the narrow corridors, and you can also visit the Dashwood Mausoleum above ground. But beware, because Satanists actively visit the caves and perform sacrifices and burn Bibles and attempt to open dark portals, so you never know what spirit you may encounter.
How much for you to spend the night there?
I would have to visit it first to know. But 500, I'll do it. Or I'd attempt it.
500, huh?
Mhm.
Hell no.
And it was
looking
really
at, like, the
interesting.
millions.
But when I was watching that Sam and Colby video, when they went that night, they had their tour guide, and she was like, literally the night before, or like one night that week, there was like for sure a group of Satanists that went and tried or did open a dark portal in the inner temple, and they went and investigated the whole caves, and it was like a pretty gnarly investigation. They felt very weird things, and they were like making contact, and it was saying a bunch of demonic stuff.
Nope.
And also, I think she said that earlier that day that they came to investigate, because they obviously went at night, and during the day of the tours, someone had to be brought out on a stretcher.
That would be me. I'd be going in there on a stretcher.
And that would be me getting my $500, not on a stretcher, because I would survive. I've heard that, like, if you go into these spooky places and you just imagine, like, this veil of white light around your head, and you just, like, slowly imagine it, like, unraveling until it reaches the ground, that it'll just, like, protect you. Who knows if that's true, but best believe if I ever go to a spooky enough place, I'ma do it.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna go to a spooky enough place ever, I guess.
I still can't wait for the first time I spend the night in a haunted place. It's probably gonna be the Crescent Hotel. I'm so... Oh! The fact that it's like literally 2 hours away from my house and I haven't spent the night there yet. Ugh. I'm disgusted. But literally, Jeremiah mentioned to me one day when we went there, he was like, you should have Kaylin come up here, and like we get all of our friends, or not all of our friends, like we don't have that many, but we get a few of our people and like all stay the night there in different rooms and see what happens and like record
I was
it all.
100% on board with doing it until you said all in different rooms. Like, I'm gonna be like, I need like at least
You
like
could bring a friend.
6 people in the same room at all times.
No, you get one tag along.
All right, let's do it.
One, maybe next spooky season, that'll be our big event.
I'm down with that.
And that'll give us time to like get all of our ghost hunting equipment. Hell yeah.
Oh shit, y'all are like going in there to like stir some shit up. I'm just trying to like take me a little snoozy woozy, and then they'll be like, all right.
No, you are not gonna travel 10 hours away to take a nap, sir. We're not gonna bring Ouija boards.
No sleeping will probably happen.
We're just gonna probably get like a REM pod, and I really like those Ovulus things where it like spits out the word. Oh no, I'm getting a spirit box because I'm doing the Estes method in there.
I will not be doing that. I'll watch you do it. Bruh.
You can ask the questions. I'll answer from the spirits.
You're gonna say some creepy shit, and I'm just gonna fly out the door and just... You're never gonna hear from me again.
Dude, this would literally be the best content ever if we actually do this. We have to. But that was kind of short, but like there wasn't all that much more about the Hellfire Caves. I mean, that's in and of itself, it's a pretty scary story. Like I don't even... It's got it all. Satan worshipping, burning Bibles, open-end portals, poltergeist activity.
Don't forget Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. If I ever make it to England one day, definitely going on a tour. Oh, the Crescent Hotel also has ghost tours, and you gotta go on that too.
What is a ghost tour?
Well, it is a haunted hotel, and I think that's the only way you have access into the basement where they keep the body parts in jars.
Heard that. Yeah, definitely got to do that and then stay the night there. Can we like
Did I
stay
ever
the
tell
night
you?
and then do the ghost tour after? I'm like, damn, I can't believe I stayed in this place.
No. Did I ever tell you like the story of Crescent Hotel, like why it's haunted?
Maybe? I don't think so.
The doctor that said he could cure cancer, so he made had all these people come stay in this place, and he was injecting them with his formula 2, I don't know, some kind of like numbered formula, and he was injecting them and it would kill them eventually. Like, he did not indeed have the cure, and when they would die, he would put like body parts in jars, and they still have the jars. In fact, they recently, a few years ago, dug up more because they were just doing some like landscaping work with the excavator, I don't know, and then they heard like a bunch of glass breaking. It was more jars.
Hell no. That's where you want me to stay?
Yep. Spooky season 2024.
Buy some merch, y'all. Make it happen.
Yeah, for real. Help you people out. Okay. But that is your first taste of what we're bringing to you for spooky season. Don't forget that you can submit any spooky topic for us to do our last spooky episode on. DM us, comment, whatever. We'll keep a log of them all and pick our favorite. And then also throughout this month, as you're going to your Halloween parties, make sure you snap a picture, tag Southern Woke in it, send it to us, and we will pick a winner, and you will get a little collection of our Halloween merch. So be sure you're following us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. Go see our website, southernwoke.com, and our YouTube channel. And most importantly, make sure you leave a rating or review because it really helps us out.
Yes, sir.
Sir? I'm kidding.
Yes, ma'am.
No, that sounds worse. Why? I don't. All right. See you on the next spooky sode.
Later, y'all.